Hard work pays off. Dreams come true. Bad times don't last, but bad guys do.
The Tainted Glove presents Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast with Tom Yumper Garcia.
Oh, what a big man you are. Hey, let me buy you a pack of gum. I'll show you how to chew it. Ooh.
And Justin Svo Svoboda.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Two guys from Chicago talking movies.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 11 of the Yumper and Svo at the Show. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Yumper Garcia, and I'm with my co-host, Justin Svo Svoboda. Before we get started, everyone, we want to release a statement on the tragic events that have happened in Highland Park, Illinois, where 7 people lost their lives, unfortunately, and 16 other people were injured. We give our deepest condolences to the families. More than thoughts and prayers. There's actually charity things that are going on, and GoFundMe's for those families are legit. We'll leave the post on our Facebook and at the Tainted Glove, and also at our website, thetaintedglove.com, with this release of our podcast and our Twitter accounts that show those. And again, we give our hearts out to everyone for such a senseless crime. And there's really not much more we can say about it. Well, I know we had to open up on a hard note for what's going on in Chicago, the Chicagoland area, but I mean, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah, Yump, it's good to see your face, man. I feel like I haven't seen it in a while. We took a little sabbatical while I was on vacation and everything happened. So I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, man. Good. Had a okay 4th of July weekend until, of course, the events, but I'm good, man. I'm good.
That's good, man.
So this week, like we did take a sabbatical. We are going to talk about the movie villains. But before that, we have to go through our same little spiel. And we're going to go into what you were watching. So what were you watching, Swole?
So I saw 2 new movies since I've seen you last. I watched, on the recommendation of our buddy K-Fids, Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe, which is streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus. And I watched the Baz Luhrmann music biopic Elvis. I thought both of them were really, really good. Obviously, both for different reasons. I think Austin Butler was a fantastic Elvis, and Tom Hanks made your skin crawl with grossness every time he came on the screen in Elvis. Beavis and Butthead was hilarious. It was a flashback to, being a 14-year-old kid again. Stupid jokes, but I enjoyed them both. How about you, Yumper? What have you been watching?
For me, I actually went back and looked at a classic Legend with Tom Hardy, not the Legend with Tom Cruise. Legend about the Cray twins. Tom Hardy gets a lot of flack for, say, his Venom movies, but a lot of people don't appreciate the kind of actor Tom Hardy is, and his movies like Bronson and this movie Legend really show that. He plays both brothers who are twins, the Crays, which is based off really notorious people from England in the 60s. Really recommend you checking that one out. And I also went to go see the new horror movie that was released this year called The Black Phone with Ethan Hawke. Really, really well done. Joe Hill, who's the son of Stephen King, wrote the story. It's adapted from his story of the same name. I don't want to get too much away. I do have a spoiler-free review on our website, The Tainted Glove. You can check it out there, but I recommend it. And I know you're going to go see it this weekend, right?
Yeah, so actually Saturday night I have to work till 8:00, but there's a 8:15 showing at AMC Oakbrook, and I am going with friend of the podcast, the hot dog king himself, Burly Cat, Matt Nominson. We're very, very excited to go see this. He didn't even know this movie existed till I sent him the trailer, and now he's texting me like, man, I'm so excited to see this movie. Like, I'm excited to see this movie. I'm glad that you didn't go into any spoilers, because I still want to see it theatrically. The other thing was, I know you said that Tom Hardy gets a lot of hate for his Venom movies. I don't hate him for his Venom movies. I like Tom Hardy. I think he's a good actor. I hate him for his portrayal of Al Capone in Capone.
Yeah, I did a review on that too before I was with the Tin Glove Network, and yeah, it's a really horrible portrayal.
It's a terrible portrayal. I was in Miami, and my wife and I, Kelly, we did this boat tour, and the boat tour took us right past the mansion that he died in Miami, and it was super cool. A little piece of Chicago down there in Miami, the Cicero resident himself, Capone's mansion. And then, of course, Tom Hardy is always going to be Bane. And say what you want about that final chapter of The Dark Knight Rises. I love it. I loved his portrayal of Bane. I love that final installment of it. So Tom Hardy is pretty cool in my book. Capone is the one that I don't love.
Everybody has a bad role, but yeah, I love Tom Hardy as Bane. Tom Hardy's probably like one of my favorite people to watch on the screen. But when you said Beavis and Butthead, it made me laugh because my brother who listens to this pod will laugh too. Because
your brother's a real piece of work. You know that, right?
Yeah. Yes, he is, but he's awesome. But our abuela, our grandmother, used to watch Beavis and Butthead in the 90s on MTV. And she actually had Beavis and Butthead action figures. They're like this big. Oh, they're like tiny little figures. She had them in her house. And I'm like, why are you watching this? Because it's like an older lady and she loved them. Like she would tell me about Beavis and Butthead and she would tell us about it and we just laugh. But yeah, she really liked Beavis and Butthead growing up.
I really think that Beavis and Butthead came out again sometime in the mid 2010s, like on a limited MTV series. And I really think they missed like a massive opportunity. They made fun of like some reality TV, but like, can you imagine Beavis and Butthead sitting down and watching like the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something like that? Like, because there's no music videos anymore on MTV. It would have been hilarious.
Definitely. I mean, Mystery Science Theater. That's kind of like what popped off all that was like Beavis and Butthead doing the videos on Mystery Science Theater. They came out like not too long after that. And I mean, another thing too, like I noticed like if you can agree with me or not, like the trend of things starting to be remade or brought back up. Like Mike Judge is now doing King of the Hills coming back now, which I thought it's kind of like I like King of the Hill, but I'm wondering how they're going to take it from there. I mean, it's
so I just a little bit about me. When I go to work, everyone is always like, hey, do you want to go out and grab lunch with me? I'm like, no, I bring my lunch. I try to bring my lunch every day, but I bring my little iPad mini and I watch a show that is appropriate for me to watch at work, right? I can't watch Sopranos episodes like in the break room at work on my headphones, right? Because, God forbid someone sees a stripper and her titties are out, right? In the break room, I'll get yelled at. So I'm rewatching King of the Hill, and I can get 2 episodes in every day on my lunch hour. So I'm in the middle of like season 6 of King of the Hill, and I missed out on so much fantastic humor when I was a kid watching this show that I didn't pick up on till now. It is absolutely one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. I love every single minute of it.
Yeah, Dale is by far my favorite character in there because he's so paranoid.
It's and for me, it's Bobby. Bobby Hill is like steals the show. I love that kid, Bobby. I think another thing is that these shows are being rebooted and reintroduced or still going because now the kids that were 13 or 14 when this stuff came out have expendable income and they can go see this stuff and they can watch these things. Like for me, if you told me Beavis and Butthead, there was going to be a movie in the theater, I know this was just a streaming one, but I would have put $20 down to go see this movie. I would have bought a t-shirt. Like we have expendable income now. And that's why this stuff is like keeps coming back.
Yeah. The only thing that worries me about stuff like that is if it's going to be good. Another, I don't ever really say if something's like, I don't want to compare it to the original, but we kind of do sometimes. And I'm like, I don't want it to lose that nostalgia or the love of it or like the way it was shown back then or the message it was relaying then to me. As long as Mike Judge is involved in this, I'm totally cool with it because he's the person that created these 2 sitcoms, which I think was great. So I have my hopes up that the new King of the Hill release will be still entertaining.
So what should I expect on Saturday night, Yumper, when I have my mandate with Nam and we're sitting next to each other, sharing a bucket of popcorn What should I expect when I see the black phone?
Me personally, I don't really scare easily. I grew up watching horror movies. Like Halloween's like me and my brother, Halloween's our big thing. I wasn't really scared in the movie, but there's a lot of uneasy time feelings throughout it because of the content and the storyline, especially with the kids. That like the whole story around that, you kind of feel uneasy. And I think the director does a great job in the way he presents that. It's kind of reminds me of a noir film, to be honest with you, because it's kind of like in the 70s, but it's kind of it's like this the mood it's set. It's I think it's around fall. It's kind of gives you that feeling of it. But I think it's really done well. It's everything kind of ties up at the end. You kind of see everything tying up at the end, so there's no loose ends. But it's a nice little slow burn.
I cannot wait to get out of work at 8 o'clock on Saturday and now 8 o'clock now and see this.
Yeah, and Ethan Hawke does a great job. Like Ethan Hawke has this year been killing it. His daughter too. She's in Stranger Things, killing it. Like he did. I thought he did was awesome in Moon Knight. I finally saw Moon Knight. I thought he was great in that show, and it looks like he's having like a little career resurgence with the Black Phone. And I read that this movie actually was made to be released last year, but it did so well in the limited release they held it over to release it to more theaters this year, which I thought was pretty crazy.
I'm excited. It's going to be good. I appreciate you keeping it spoiler free.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil it from you. And of course, like let me know your honest opinion, and then we could talk about it on the show next week.
Also, one more quick note. Sorry, Yump. I know your brother's going to listen to this, and I know your brother's a big Elvis fan. And I know you like for those that are listening at home, Yumper and I talk all day, pretty much every day in our group chat. And he said his brother did not like Elvis. Well, his brother has never been more wrong about a movie biopic. This was a great movie. The filming of his 68 comeback special was fantastic. And then the real footage at the end, which most music biopics do, was absolutely heartbreaking to watch. And I learned some things about Elvis that I didn't know before. I really, really enjoyed this movie. So I just wanted to just throw that little jab in there at your brother about how wrong he was about this.
In his defense, he said he didn't like some of the historical. My brother's like when you talk, my brother knows a lot about Elvis. Elvis is like one of his favorite like icons. So he knows a lot of historically about him, his career and everything. He said the movie is beautifully shot, which Bids told us about. I mean, you said the same thing. Beautifully shot. It's very nice to look at. It's a certain historical things he didn't like that were in the movie. And it could be nitpicking, but I mean, Elvis is his guy. So I don't know. Me personally, I'm going to be honest with you. It's not a movie probably I would want to go see right away. I might wait on it because I'm not a really big fan of biopics. It's just me.
Wait a minute. Let's touch on that again real quick. You're not a fan of music biopics?
No, just biopics in general.
Like Walk the Line, like Straight Outta Compton.
So I saw Walk the Line when it came to video, and I saw Straight Outta Compton when it came to streaming. Like when it came to Amazon Prime. I just something about it. Like when I think about biopics, like I'm just not really interested for some reason. I saw Lincoln, great movie when it came out in video. It's just something, I don't know, it's just me. I'm just weird like that.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
I have nothing against them. It's just not something I would pay my dollars for. I'm more of a I guess I want to be engulfed in like the disbelief. I want to be like in something that didn't really happen. A portrayal.
See, for me, like I wasn't around when this Elvis stuff was happening, right? So all this stuff is like, I mean, I know about Elvis and I know about Colonel Parker, but like all this stuff is like, oh wow, holy crap, this stuff actually happened in a world that I exist in. So and then Baz Luhrmann just makes beautiful movies, man. Like, say what you want about Great Gatsby, say what you want about Moulin Rouge, and your favorite Romeo plus Juliet. But the movies that he makes and he shoots are just absolutely gorgeous.
No, I totally agree. Great Gatsby, beautifully shot. I mean, the GIF is still used today where DiCaprio putting up the champagne glass. It's that scene. That's a scene when he does this. It's a beautifully shot scene. So I have no doubt it's going to look beautiful. It's just, I'm just weird with the biopics. That's just me. So sorry about that for anybody who doesn't agree with me, but
Okay, man, we're allowed to be wrong. There was an episode 2 weeks ago where you were wrong on everything you said. So it's just one of those things.
No, I've actually had a lot of people reach out to me and tell me how much of an asshole Captain America is. So I greatly appreciate that.
It's funny
'Cause
you
he
say that
is.
because my wife was like, I can't believe Yumper doesn't like Captain America. She's also in complete agreement with me. First of all, she's going to kill me that I did the voice that I do for her on the podcast. But she's also in complete agreement with me that Return to Oz is a trash movie.
Different strokes for different folks, man. Now I'm agreeing with me. Now I'm liked it.
Yeah, Nam
And
also ate 22 hot dogs in one sitting. That doesn't make him right.
he's just trying out for competitive eating. We let him alone. But with that, let's let's get into our episode. So this episode is all about movie villains. So Swole has his 5, and I have my 5. They're not in any particular order.
Except for the last one.
The last one is a little nice surprise for you guys. But let's get to your first one, Swole.
We see a deadly sin on every street corner, in every home, and we tolerate it. We tolerate it because it's common. It's trivial. We tolerate it morning, noon, and night. Well, not anymore.
John Doe from the movie Seven, played by Kevin Spacey. Well, tell me why this is one of your favorite movie villains.
So I don't want to give anything away with the rest of the list, but a Kevin Spacey character shows up twice on this list because he plays villains or he plays dirtballs really, really well. Now, it's weird that real life mirrors the characters that he plays, but I want to make sure that I'm separating it, right? Because I don't approve of anything that Kevin Spacey has done, but his performance in both of these movies that make the list are absolutely fantastic. There are no redeeming qualities about John Doe whatsoever. He is nuts. He is a psychopath. No matter what the dialogue says in Seven, where he's actually saner than everybody else, he is so narcissistic and a god complex in this movie. I get chills just thinking about this movie like it's the first time I saw it. I absolutely love the way John Doe does everything he does in this movie. It's so creepy and a perfect movie.
Yeah, we're both David Fincher stans. So the way Kevin Spacey does his role is extremely creepy. The best part, I think, about the whole movie with this character in general is that he's very, very, he plans everything out so like meticulously. Everything is planned out until they show up at his door due to the FBI at the FBI screening at the library. But he had everything planned out perfectly. He didn't have a name.
Like years in advance and no fingerprints and the entire and for me, everyone knows that like I'm a Batman nerd. Like there are scenes in the Batman that are ripped directly from Seven when they find the Riddler's apartment. It is ripped directly from Seven and John Doe. I said this when the Batman came out that it felt more like Seven than it did like a superhero movie. It felt like a serial killer movie, and it's because of Kevin Spacey's portrayal of John Doe. Like the scene where he has the guy tied up in the bed in the apartment for a year to the day with like air fresheners and pictures of his like it's so creepy. I hope that everybody listening to this has seen Seven at least once.
Definitely. That part alone, like these, even the fact that he made the gluttony, he made him eat, throw up in the bucket and continuously eat, and he fed him paint chips while he was doing just totally a ruthless guy. Totally a ruthless guy. So yeah, he's definitely a pretty bad guy.
I need a new David Fincher movie. Like I need Air to Breathe, and I know that like he's filming something for Netflix around here, like in St. Charles. I need new David Fincher material.
Dude, I just want Fincher to start working on Mindhunter season 3. Like season 2 was very good, and I think like those are talk about like true crime stories, like the streaming stuff. He is so excellent at the way he films his scenes, his character development, the way they portray the real life serial killing stories, like just the whole thing and ties it all together. And Like, I would love him to do something in Chicago related to it, but like they haven't had season three's been on hiatus for 3 years now. The actors were released from the contracts. He made hints about it. Hopefully, Netflix wakes up with the success of Stranger Things now, getting them more eyes and more subscriptions. They can start pouring more money into Dave Fincher and getting him his Mindhunter seasons going. But with that, let's move on to the next one.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague, and we are the cure.
For my bad guy, I went with Agent Smith from the Matrix movies, played by Hugo Weaving. Now, his character arc is very interesting to me because he starts off working for the the Matrix, basically the computers and droids that take over everybody in the world and use them as energy source. And eventually he gets tired of them and it gets turned into a virus that basically destroys that world. And if you think about it, if he never did that, where Neo made him into the virus he was, the humans really never get saved, because took him destroying everything and basically killing everybody, turning everybody into him, to where the computers are like, the machines are basically saying, all right, we have to now work with the humans to get him out because they needed Neo to help them. So he's a horrible person, destroying everybody, but he actually ended up doing something good in the end. But awesome job at Hugo Weaving, a great actor. He's in like two of the biggest trilogies, if you want to count Matrix 4, but trilogies with The Matrix and also Lord of the Rings. Love the character. He's just so creepy and conniving and totally like an asshole to everybody. And who can not forget Mr. Anderson, the way he says it.
I think what makes Agent Smith like such a good villain is how hard you're rooting for Neo to figure out if he's actually the one, like in the first Matrix movie, right? Like, is this guy the right guy? Is he what the Oracle said he's going to be, right? And he is so bad and so just a terrible person or being or whatever you want to call him. Like, but Neo is the opposite of that, and that's what makes him fantastic. So I think that this performance was amazing, but I also think he plays off Keanu Reeves, and you're like rooting for him, and it makes it even better.
Yeah, and just that scene with him and Lawrence Fishburne when he's telling him about how human beings are a cancer, they use up every resource. Like, you can totally see the hatred in him he has in his eyes for the way the human race is, and basically he doesn't think we're worth anything. And I think he does a great job portraying that. Also, he's got cool karate moves too.
He does. I need to go back and revisit all four of these movies, like when I have some time, and just see how they hold up and how they, because I do it with Lord of the Rings and I do it with Star Wars all the time. I need to see how these guys hold up.
Yeah, I watched the original Matrix not too long ago. It still holds up pretty well. I did a mini review of the newer one. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was okay. I think the first one is the best one of the series. That's just me. Fitz is going to fight me to death on that. I just think the first one is the best one. But yeah, let me know what you think if they still hold up. But with that, let's move on to our next one.
I thought my jokes were bad.
Give me one reason why I shouldn't have my boy here pull your head off.
How about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
Well, we are going with the Joker. Now, the Joker's been played by many characters, including Mark Hamill as the voice actor. Before we get to that, who's your favorite Joker?
Yomp, why you got to do that to me, bro? Like, that's brutal. I mean, it's got to be Heath Ledger, right? Like, he's the best version or the best portrayal of the Joker. Like, growing up, it was always Jack Nicholson. It's just a different Joker, and they're different Joker for different times, right? It's just like Star Wars. Like, these characters evolve, and they're different for different people. God. Nolan's trilogy still is the best out of this series. I would love to combine like a Ben Affleck's Batman and a Heath Ledger's Joker and Selena Kyle from The Batman, right? Yes, I'm saying it. Selena Kyle in The Batman was my favorite version of Catwoman, more than Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought she was great and definitely better than Anne Hathaway. But the Joker is just, he's an anarchist. He just wants chaos. He doesn't care about anything. He sets that gigantic pyramid of money on fire because he doesn't care about money. He just wants to see shit destroyed and burned. And just like Michael Caine, Alfred said, like, some men just want to watch the world burn. And Heath Ledger went from 10 Things I Hate About You and A Knight's Tale to this combination of like Malcolm McDowell's Alex and Clockwork Orange and Sid Vicious. And it was just this most perfect combination. I'm glad that this list is in no particular order because it's probably my favorite movie character, like, of all time. It's absolutely brilliant. It's gorgeously shot. Every single thing that he is in, like, there's this scene, like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I'm sure you have because you're like on top of stuff like that too, Yump. But like, there's this behind the scene footage of like when they filmed The Dark Knight in Chicago of Heath Ledger skateboarding down Michigan Avenue in full Joker getup. And it's the most chilling, haunting thing. Like, can you imagine just walking down the street? Like, they forgot to block off a part of Michigan Avenue, like, for this shoot. And you see Heath Ledger in full Joker makeup and purple suit skateboarding, like doing ollies on Michigan Avenue.
Be pretty creepy.
And the scene when he walks in with Gamble in The Dark Knight before he does the magic trick, it just felt larger than life. Like, holy shit, this guy's on the movie screen. This is not real. I can't believe I'm seeing this. And I love him. I love this portrayal of the Joker. He's a fantastic villain. And Mark Hamill is only known for one thing, Joker. For a Yumper. I know
Joker?
You said the Joker, but Mark Hamill will forever only be known as one thing. Cockknocker in the Jay and Silent Bob
I
movie.
knew you were going to say that. Shout out to Clerks 3 coming out soon.
Yes, Yumper, we need to do, like, you and I need to go see that if that tour hits Chicago at all.
Definitely. I would definitely be down to see that. Totally agree with everything you said. My personal favorite Joker is Jack Nicholson. Heath Ledger is right there. It's like 1A, 1B. I also thought Joaquin Phoenix did a great job in his version of the Joker. All three of them play a different type of Joker. Jack Nicholson, I think, it portrays the Cesar Romero that I grew up watching, the old Batman series, like goofy, but yet he's more of a deadly person in his version of it.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger's just very dark and mysterious.
There was I don't know, like when Suicide Squad came out, there was this shirt going around where it was like, you know, the clown, the gangster, the anarchist, like they're all just different versions of the Joker, and that's what I love about them.
Yeah, even like Mark Hamill does a great job in the Batman series. I thought
he absolutely does. I just wanted to say cockknocker on the podcast.
I know. But like just the different, I love the different portrayals. Of course, in the big screen, we think of Heath Ledger, we think about Joaquin Phoenix and Jack Nicholson. If you want to even go into the Harley Quinn series on HBO, I can't remember who does the voice there. I don't know if it's Mark Hamill or it's somebody else, but they do a great job of portraying the Joker there. It's such a character you can just basically his backstory is so mysterious and like really unknown. You can basically play around with everything about him.
You notice that we just named off all the Jokers and we didn't say Joaquin Phoenix or not Joaquin Phoenix. Jared Leto once.
Well, he kills two franchises, DC and Marvel.
It's Morbin time.
Yeah, when I first saw him as in Suicide Squad, I was looking at it because they showed the trailer when he says when he's gonna shock the person.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, it's a different look. So I'm like, it kind of looks okay. And then when I saw it, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, his laugh is horrible. He was just trying too hard, I thought.
I was very, very excited to see what he could do with it. But the material, the material that was written was not good for Joker or for Harley Quinn or, you know, your boy Will Smith was in that movie too. And it was just bad.
Yeah, my boy. You know who? Another person who portrays a Joker that is very underrated. Not really a long role, but the way he portrays him as a creepy guy. Have you ever seen the show Growing Pains? with Kirk Cameron.
I know it. Yeah, with that
All right.
religious nut job, Kirk
All
Cameron.
right, yeah, all right. There was a character in that show called Boner. I don't know if you remember his name.
I remember Mike's friend Boner.
Yeah, okay. Boner plays the Joker in this YouTube movie called Batman Dead End, where Batman actually fights a fucking predator.
I've seen Batman versus Predator on that YouTube.
Yeah. So the way the Joker looked in that's his portrayal is pretty creepy, and the way they have is like his makeup's done excellently, and he gets killed, of course, but it's just the way he portrays him.
Well, there was whatchamacallit too. The kid that was in Shameless, played Jerome in Gotham.
Yeah, but see, the Joker is such a great character, like a great villain. You can just have so many the people who actually have good material and are decent actors. Sorry, Jared Leto.
Well, what I really want for the Batman, like if this is going to be a legit trilogy, I don't want to see Joker in the second movie. Like I want to see Joker in Arkham locked up, and for the duration of the second movie, and I want him to go out with a bang in the finale of the trilogy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would like him to be the final.
The final, yeah.
That would actually be a nice lead up to him. Like he's there, but it's leading up. Kind of like the way they did in Marvel, how they had Thanos at the end.
Yep.
Like he would make his appearances throughout, and then he's there, and then you have Mess. And I would like that with the new Batman.
I just think Batman has such a massive rogues gallery, better than anybody else, like of villains, that like I would like to see someone else besides the Joker in the sequel. Like you put Penguin, you put Catwoman, and you made it a mob story in the Batman. Let's mess around a little bit, man. Let's get Dr. Freeze in there. Let's get some other shit in there. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah, I would like to see how I would like them to get away kind of what we've been given already. I know Hugo Strange was rumored in previous Batman installations, but I would like a Hugo Strange. I would like I don't want them to go like I love Nolan's Batman, and Schumacher's Riddler. I mean, this Riddler was Paul Dano's Riddler is more serious and more But I mean, we kind of seen like the Riddler on TV.
Well, what about when we leave Gotham City in the Batman? It is completely flooded, right? And spoiler alert, like if you're listening to this podcast, you've probably seen the Batman. But what if Gotham's flooded? And what if Killer Croc shows up like in all these floods?
If they could do something like that with a more, and I think Matt Reeves could write a good story behind it instead of the Suicide Squad Killer Croc, which was bad. That would be awesome. Like there's so many ways you can go. I just kind of want to see something a little different in terms of villains. I don't want the same villain that they rehashed throughout.
Well, I would like the finale to end up being the Joker.
Well, the Joker at the end, but I'm saying for the second movie, I would like something like a little different. But we can talk Batman all day. I know you can talk him all year.
Oh, yeah.
But let's move on to our next one.
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
For my character, I went with Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. Now, Hannibal Lecter is a very highly intellectual person. He can dine with the best of society and eat them at the same time. A lover of classic music, unless you fuck up on your notes, and then he's going to eat your ass. Just his character, he can be so calm, but yet so scary. The way he stares at Jodie Foster when she comes in to meet him the first time, just him standing there when she walks in and he's totally just standing there staring at her. It's crazy. The guy only had 16 minutes on film during that movie, and he won an Oscar for best actor. I've also read all the books, including Hannibal Rising, which is his origin. Just a totally conniving person, brutal. And the one part sticks out to me about his character in general is when Clarice is talking to the doctor at the mental institution, and he shows her a video of Lecter attacking a nurse. And he says that his heart rate never got above 89. So he basically was biting this nurse's face and his heart rate never went up because he's sadistic. Great portrayal. The guy actually worked for the FBI profiling murderers when they were actually trying to catch him, but he was just making them run circles until Edward Norton's character got him to figure out it was him. But it's one of the best villains in movie history, in my opinion.
So you've read the books. How do they know his heart rate didn't get above 89? Was Hannibal Lecter wearing an Apple Watch?
Well, at the time, and I think in the book, he was taking his blood pressure,
Okay.
and that's how they found out his blood pressure and EKG was on him as a fitness. That's why he was in the nurse's office, was getting his
vitals and stuff.
Physical. And he just attacked. But just like his portrayal in the first book, Silence of the Lambs, was very well done. I mean, it's pretty much spot on.
I have a little bit, I don't want to call it pushback, because I completely agree with you that he's one of the best movie villains of all time. But there is a massive drop off in how afraid I was of Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs to Hannibal to, what was it, Red Dragon? What was that Norton one?
Red Dragon.
Dragon. I am nowhere near, and it got almost a little like campy at the end of Hannibal, where like, was it Ray Liotta?
Yeah, where he ate his brain.
He's eating his brain. I wasn't nearly like, oh crap, it's Hannibal Lecter. It almost got campy at the end of those. But in Silence of the Lambs, you're absolutely 100% spot on. One of the creepiest characters in a movie ever, and a fantastic movie villain.
Yeah, I totally agree. Hannibal was a let off. The book is people are gonna say the book's always better than a movie. There's a lot more backstory, and I think, and then Red Dragon is actually a remake of Manhunter.
Yeah, with William S. Peterson.
Yeah, and Brian Cox actually plays Hannibal Lecter.
Brian Cox, right?
He actually does a good job too. Just that Hopkins Lecter is more known because of his success with the Oscars, but Cox did a good job. And then the show Hannibal. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. He does a great job with it. He was in, what's his name? So he was in. He took Johnny Depp's role in the Harry Potter movies. I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. But he does a great job. He's extremely creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the characters, those two movies, they were a letdown. But that's why Hopkins retired the role, because he didn't think he could get any more juice out of it. But Hannibal Rising was actually a pretty nice little addition. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No.
It's its origin story. It's a pretty decent movie. He's actually played by the guy who was in
Mads Mikkelsen.
Jaspard Ulel, I think his name is. He was in Moon Knight. He plays a character in Moon Knight. He actually passed away, unfortunately, this year. He hit in a skiing accident. But he plays Hannibal Lecter. He did a great role.
I mean, I think I agree with you. Hannibal is like absolutely one of the. Silence of the Lambs is like, still people quote it to this day. It's iconic.
I mean, the fava beans of Chianti, bro.
That sound clip that you chose was just unreal. Once again, I don't know the sound clips till we record, so I didn't hear the Joker sound clip, or I didn't hear any of the other sound clips. So just absolutely fantastic job on the audio, Yumper.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next one, my friend.
I thought you'd be mad.
Man, I'm not mad. I'm proud of you. You took your first place like a man, and you learned the two greatest things in life.
Well, look at me.
Never rat on your friends, and always keep your mouth shut.
Jimmy Conway from Goodfellas, portrayed by Robert De Niro. Well, tell me why he's one of your favorite villains.
I just think that Jimmy has, once again, no redeeming qualities. He likes to rob. He likes to steal. He murdered people. He didn't care. He would cover things up. He would sell out his friends. He was going to kill his best friend's wife, and disguise it as giving her some Christian Dior dressers. No redeeming qualities. He killed everybody in the Lufthansa heist, right? The guy bought a pink Cadillac for his wife. It's in my mother's name. Didn't care. Whacked him. Frankie Carbone. Whacked him. Jimmy Stacks. Whacked him. Killed them all. He kept all the money to himself. Maury. Poor old dude just wanted money for his commercials and his toupee. And he whacked them. He whacked them all. He didn't care about anything but money and himself. And the movie, we've talked about this movie on multiple episodes. It's Martin Scorsese's greatest work. I don't care what you say about Casino. This is his greatest work, and it's perfect. He's just a terrible, terrible person, and he's based on a real life character. So he is one of the best movie villains of all time.
Totally agree. One scene that sticks out to me is the one that's showing on our YouTube version is when Cream plays and he just does he's smoking his cigarette and just does a stare at Maury because he knows he's going to kill him. Just that scene, like Robert De Niro, probably one of the greatest actors of all time. I mean, there's up for debate. Plays him excellently. Henry Hill has gone on record when he was alive saying that he played the real life, a close portrayal to a real life character of Jimmy Burke, which Jimmy Conway is based off. And the funny part is, they couldn't get Burke's real name because they didn't want his real name in the movie, but he was raised by the Conways. So they used Jimmy Conway as a way of getting around it, which I thought was pretty crazy, but totally like a conniving character. Like he said he wanted to keep the Lufthansa money to himself. He was going to kill Karen. Also, he didn't really give a shit about mob rules in certain aspects. I mean, he was selling drugs with Henry, him and Tommy. He was in the movie. They say he was doing hits since he was 16.
And then when he thought like Tommy was going to get made, like he was like, we could do whatever the hell we want once he gets made. And like, if he couldn't do whatever he wanted before Tommy got made, imagine what he would have done if it had happened.
Totally. Just a straight up gangster. Great pick, Swole. I really like this one.
Before we move on to your pick, Yumper, I didn't include this in the PowerPoint, and we probably should have, but we're in the middle of like this Goodfellas talk and Jimmy Conway and mob movies, and we lost a great one today. James Caan passed away at 82, and he played, Santino Corleone, Sonny Corleone in the greatest movie to ever be made, The Godfather. And I can't say how awesome he was in every single role he played. Like, the dude could play Sonny Corleone. He could play Brian Piccolo. He was an elf, right? The dude
Walter Hobbs.
He was Walter Hobbs. The dude could act. And we lost a good one today, and we will miss like the work that he's done and his contributions to these things that we love and we talk about every 2 weeks.
Yeah, totally. Misery. Stephen, great portrayal of Misery.
God, Misery is such a perfect movie.
Also, he was in the program. He was the football coach in the program.
And the program is a really weird, like, it makes me feel some things because it's loosely based around Florida State football. But I love it so much. And when Bobby Bowden wasn't at Florida State, and then the early 90s and the late 90s up until he left, that college program was like the wild, wild west. So that was probably a pretty accurate portrayal. But my God, James Caan, what a fantastic actor. And actually, I don't know, correct me here. Did Richard Roper tell a James Caan story on our pod or before we started recording about when he interviewed him?
I think he told us before we were recording. That was
he told us a story about how he wanted to interview him, but he wanted to ask him questions about one of his lesser known movies. And they were like, yeah, Jimmy will talk to you about that all day because, he can answer movies about questions about The Godfather so many times. But Richard Roper spoke glowingly about James Caan. And if Richard Roper speaks glowingly about you, then you're a good person and a fantastic actor because that dude doesn't pull any punches and he's one of our heroes. So I just wanted to take a minute and talk about James Caan.
Yeah. R.I.P. The movie industry lost an icon today.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist. And like that, he's gone.
With my next pick, I went with Kaiser Sose from The Usual Suspects, portrayed by Kevin Spacey. Now, this is when Swole said that Kevin Spacey would make our list again, and Kevin Spacey is really good at playing creepy individuals. Who would have known? But the reason that Sose sticks out so much to me is that in the movie, he's portrayed as the bad guy or the guy that bad guys are afraid of. which is ridiculous. You have these tough criminals that are actually afraid of somebody, and it's not the mob, it's Sose. And the way I love his character, well, I'm really like the way his character is made, is that he had people working for him that didn't even know they were working for him. He was so good at covering his tracks. He basically operated for years without them knowing who he was. He had, in the beginning of the movie, they say how everybody from downtown was there getting him out, Robo Kent out of jail. Like, he had some pretty big hitters, and everybody thought they were going to kill Robo Kent until the ending. Spoiler, I'm sorry, it's 20 years, 30 years old. Robo Kent is Kaiser Soze. He plays a cripple. Like, just the dude is a mastermind. Everything he tells David Cunyan, Chaz Palminteri in the movie is all makeup of after everything he just watched looking at his board. The Barbershop Quartet is something he saw on the board in Skokie, Illinois. Kobayashi is underneath his coffee mug. Just stuff like that. Like, he's just such a mastermind and evil person that he can make up stories on that would just blow your mind and make you believe him. Totally great character.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I also feel like, I know they make a lot of great movies now, and movies are different, are better, but they don't make movies like The Usual Suspects anymore, man. Like, it's gotta really come out and surprise you for you to even like be put in this like level of The Usual Suspects. And like, you talking about it makes me realize like how I felt the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah, totally. And it's kind of crazy. Like, I want to ask Richard when we had him on, because Roger Ebert didn't like the movie. Like, I don't think he fully got the grasp of where it's going. He thought it jumped around a little too much. And I actually like that aspect because it keeps you thinking, like, what is going on? Like, where's this all leading? And kind of like puts a bow on it at the end. But I always wanted to ask him, like, what he thought of it, because I know Roger didn't really like it too much. But yeah, totally a great movie. Great actors in it. Gabriel Bryan, Stephen Baldwin. Well, Stephen Baldwin's not a great actor, but he's okay in that movie. Kevin Pollak, Chaz Palminteri, and Kevin Spacey, Benicio del Toro. Like, those character actors are awesome. Great ensemble. It's one of my go-to movies if I'm into, like, want to watch something with crime. I just love the whole story aspect of it. But with that, let's get into our next one.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Well, tell me why Michael Myers is one of your favorite villains. And I kind of see where we're going to go with this one eventually.
No, I think that might be a little bit too easy. So you might get off on this episode. But when I think of like this list of villains, I think of things that stick with me, right? And things that have made a lasting impression. And every single one that we've mentioned so far has made a lasting impression on me. Something that, like, I don't want to say value, but like, I'll never, ever forget. And I'll never forget, like, my dad showing me the 1978 Halloween for the first time. Like, and it was almost like an exercise in like, how much could my dad fuck with me? Right? Because he knew this movie was going to scare the shit out of me. So we put this movie on in our living room in Streamwood, and I'm, maybe 12, 13, right? And I couldn't handle it. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to go upstairs. I can't watch this. He's like, all right, I knew you weren't going to be able to watch it. And I watched it from the stairs, and he didn't know that I was there, and I finished watching it. And I slept on the floor outside of their bedroom that night because this movie, like, left a mark on me. Michael Myers John Carpenter knew how to work the shadows and knew how to, like, scare you and put in small little tiny, like, intricacies that you never think of. Michael Myers is one of the ultimate movie villains, and just for what reason, right? We can go into a million different things, like The Thorn and, like, Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, and why he wants to kill his family, but he's just psycho. He just wants to kill his sister. I don't care about Halloween Ends or Halloween Kills and how it's not canon anymore. He wants to kill Laurie Strode, who's his sister.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Halloween itself, I mean, spoiler alert, probably down the road, we're probably going to have a dedicated Halloween episode, because me and Swole love Halloween. Absolutely. But Halloween itself was so influential in horror. it created a slasher film. There wasn't really, there was something that was like things maybe before that had some similarities, but Halloween is what they consider the birth of the slasher film.
Absolutely.
That character, Michael Myers, has transcended time. He's such a popular, infamous character that he's still mentioned in things that don't even have anything to do with him. Stranger Things, there's a scene where they have a fucking Michael Myers mask. Just that's how iconic this person is. Like, it's just throughout, it's known in pop culture who he is. The fact that he's mysterious, he never talks. This is a character that never talks or says anything.
And
but yet he's so impactful.
It's not like Silent Bob where he'll eventually drop like some wisdom or nugget of like of vocals. He doesn't speak. You only see his face for 3 seconds in the 1978 Halloween. Like the mask is creepy. And we all know it's a William Shatner mask that was spray painted white because they couldn't get the rights to whatever. He's just a bad ass villain. And I love Halloween movies. And even like, I would say I loved like 65% of Halloween kills. Like the other 35%, but the Michael Myers stuff and the kills and the chase scenes and the score, I love. I don't love, Anthony Michael Hall and the mom mentality, but like I love like 65% of this movie.
No, and I think like the character, I'll never complain about the Michael Myers character, even in Curse of Michael Myers, like, which is, we can say it was like one of the worst Halloween in the franchise, but like the character itself, like you can't really mess it up with, it's just bad writing around the movie. But the character, there shouldn't be no way to mess up a Michael Myers movie. He's a very easy character. Like he's conniving, he's evil. He doesn't give you any issue with dialogue because he doesn't talk. His job is to go in there and kill, and basically like he's so focused on what he was trying to do, like he just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
And the supernatural aspect that's not explained, I love that aspect of it because the man got shot and basically lived. He gets stabbed,
set on fire,
and he lives some miraculously somehow. Like but they never explained that part, and I love that part about the character. I really love that they paired him up with Donna Pleasence, was Dr. Loomis in the original series. Just he was a great narrator of showing who the character was in the first movie, and that still sets the precedent to who he is today. So totally agree with you. Love Michael Myers. Excellent pick, Swole. Excellent pick. Let's move on to our next one.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
You need to call it. I can't call it for you. Well, it wouldn't be fair.
I didn't put nothing up.
Yes, you did. You've been putting it up your whole life. You just didn't know it.
I went with Anton Chigurh. Now, Swole, I know it's from your two favorite directors, the Coen brothers, but this character to me is excellently done. Little background on me, I come from a criminal justice background. I went to school for it. Psychology was also my major. So I wanted to be a forensic psychologist.
You were studying criminal justice?
Yeah, I actually graduated with a degree, and I worked in the field.
What were you trying to be, Batman?
I wish. Just a fat Batman.
That's a line from Clerks 2.
Yeah, I know.
He's like, we studied criminal justice for Christ's sakes. What were we studying to be, Batman?
That's the way I felt, man. But the character in Anton Chigurh, basically, there was just how believable this character was. There was a forensic psychologist by the name of Samuel Lesnit and his partner, Paul Kowski, who were doing basically a case study. They watched 400 movies with serial killers, psychopaths in them. And they wanted to see which of those characters portrayed real traits to a real life person. Some would think like maybe Psycho. They actually ruled Psycho out right away and said that there was inconsistencies of how a real person would act in a movie. They thought it was more Hollywood up. Anton Chigurh, his portrayal by Javier Bardem, they said is the realest character to a real psychopath. He has no emotion. He basically has his quirks and triggers of how he uses the coin toss to basically it would choose if you live or die, and that's his way of, I didn't do it, you chose the wrong coin, as a way of taking him for blame. He has no empathy for anybody. He's also not bothered by being hurt. Basically shrugs it off. He's like, there's a part where he walks into the office and just shoots a guy. Dude's laying on the floor dying. And he tells the other guys, ask him, "Are you going to kill me?" And he goes, "Depends. Did you see me?" And the guys, and then it cuts. He kills Woody Harris. Woody Harris in the damn chair. Like just shoots him while the phone rings. He kills the lady at the end of the movie and wipes his feet from the blood. Dude's a complete badass and psycho. He was about in that scene I just played with the clip. He was about to kill a guy at the gas station because the guy said that he inherited the gas station, and it made him mad.
So wait, you're telling me that this character flips a coin? I've seen the movie, right? So I'm just busting balls here, right? He flips a coin, and that determines whether or not you live or you die in like whatever circumstance he's in.
Yes, he is the.
So you're telling me that the Coen brothers ripped off Two-Face.
Well,
for this movie, I know it's based on a novel, but they ripped off a Batman character for their movie. That just means the Coen brothers are they're thieves too.
You can't really base on the Coen brothers if it's off a novel. So I mean, but just to portray like a quote from Mikowski basically said that he reminds of two professional hitmen he interviewed. They were like this cold, smart, no guilt, no anxiety, no depression. And Javier Bardem just won him an Oscar is excellent in this movie. It's probably my favorite role of him. He also does a great job in as a James Bond villain in one of his roles. But like this role is perfect in terms of villains.
Who when he won this Oscar, who else was nominated that year?
At the top of my head, I can't think. You must know it because you're asking me the question.
So I know that No Country for Old Men was the same year categories as There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis won for his role though.
So was this supporting, and then he was
this is supporting actor because I believe Tommy Lee Jones I might have been lead and
okay, that makes sense.
Josh Brolin was lead.
No, that makes sense. Like so here's the deal, right? We know how I feel about the Coen brothers. I think they're overrated. I think that part of my not loving them came from this movie, right? And a lot of it was probably making a choice. Which one did you like better? There Will Be Blood or No Country for Old Men? And There Will Be Blood is one of my favorite movies of all time, right? Like I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I love that movie. I loved Upton Sinclair's Oil. So maybe I'm not admitting anything. So let's not take this and run with it on Twitter, Yumper. But maybe I need to go back and revisit this movie.
Yeah, I think you do. And to be honest with you, looking at the performers, he went against Hal Holbrook for Into the Wind, Tom Wilkinson for Michael Clayton, Casey Affleck for The Assassination of Jesse James, and Philip Seymour Hoffman for Charlie Wilson's War. In my opinion, he was the best out of them. So he deserved this win.
If those are who he went up against, sure, I get it. I thought for a minute that I had a brain fart that it was Daniel Day-Lewis, but Daniel Day-Lewis won for that role.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis beat out Johnny Depp for The Demon Barber of Fleet Street, Sweeney Todd. Viggo Mortensen for Easter Promises. George Clooney for Michael Clayton. Michael Clayton's actually a pretty good movie.
I really like Michael Clayton.
Yeah, and Tommy Lee Jones actually wasn't nominated for No Country. What's it called? For that movie, I can't think of it. No Country for Old Men. I was gonna say No Country for Old Men. He was nominated for In the Valley of Elah. So Daniel Day-Lewis deserved. Daniel Day-Lewis is my favorite actor. I think the greatest actor of all time, with Brando as second. That's my personal list.
I think so. Like it's either Daniel Day-Lewis or Johnny Knoxville. Like I can't. I can't decide. Like I'm torn.
Johnny Knoxville, he's underrated, man. Underrated. But let's go on to
Don't tell Brian Magnificent Stan that I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna revisit this. All right.
Oh, I'm pretty sure once he hears this, you're gonna hear it.
That dude slid into my DMs today. He's like, "Hey man, like dirtball, can't stand that dude."
I love Magnificent Stan.
Just kidding. I love Brian too.
Let's go on to our next one.
Ooh, that's a bingo.
Is that the way you say it? That's a bingo.
You just say bingo. Bingo! How fun!
Hans Landa, portrayed by Christopher Waltz in Inglourious Bastards. Swole, tell me why he's one of your favorite villains.
This character is obviously, first of all, let's just deal with the elephant in the room. First of all, he's a fucking Nazi, right? So fuck him right off the bat. Second of all, the opening scene of this movie when Shoshana is in the basement under the dairy farmer's like floor, and he knows to speak French, to go to English, to go back, right? He knows what he's doing. He is hunting down Jewish people to murder them for the Germans. This guy is a dick. Quentin Tarantino wrote this character and directed this part so perfectly, and Christoph Waltz just absolutely is such a dirtball in this movie. Inglourious Bastards is probably my favorite Tarantino flick. And my favorite Tarantino flick changes based on the day of the week. It could be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It could be Inglourious Bastards. It could be, Pulp Fiction. But the most hated character out of any of these movies is always Hans Landa.
Totally agree. Right off the bat, he's a Nazi. Christoph Waltz is a excellent actor. He's won 2 Oscars, 2 Tarantino movies for his portrayal in this movie as Hans Landa, and also as the dentist in Django. Bounty Hunter. Like, he's such a great, versatile actor. Great at his craft, and he totally portrays the slimeballness in this movie, Hans Landa.
It's like we talked about when I talked about Elvis, like when what we were watching. When Tom Hanks is on the screen as Colonel Parker, your skin crawls. Like, you're like, this dude is gross. I don't like him. And it's the same way with Hans Landa. He is gross. I don't like him. The Revenge of the Big Face, when they burn the theater down, I'm sad that he is not in that theater when they burn that theater down. But he gets his comeuppance when Brad Pitt takes him over into, U.S. Forces custody. I love Inglourious Bastards. I cannot speak enough about how much I love that movie.
That's actually my father-in-law, one of his favorite movies, and he quotes Brad Pitt a lot. My job's here to kill Nazis. But his role is excellent. He's such an asshole. You want him to get his comeuppance. You're hoping he gets his comeuppance.
Well, and even the way he gets he tells Shoshana to wait for the whipped cream for the apple strudel, right? Forget you, man. I hate you. I hate you so much. Also, the way Brad Pitt's character says "Buongiorno" is still to this day one of my favorite things in a movie ever.
Yeah, Inglourious Bastards is a great movie. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you to watch it.
I went with my old man the night it came out at the same place that we had our movie event, Streets of Woodfield, and to this day, I still just talk about the beauty and the glory of Inglourious Bastards, how fantastic it is.
Yes, and in Tarantino style, he adds humor to real life subjects that have happened, to where you kind of get it's a good sprinkle of it throughout the movie. And the clip I played, him saying bingo, just that part, he's such an asshole character, but that part always makes me laugh. And he's like, ooh, just that part. And then, yeah, you can see bingo. Just that exchange between them cracks me up. But yeah, Hans Landa, total douchebag. But with that, Swole, let's get to our final one.
Come on, Charlie. Let's get out of here.
I'll get even with him if it's the last thing I ever do. Slugworth wants a gobstopper, he'll get one.
So some of you might think I was going to go with Willy Wonka. But no, I'm going with Grandpa Joe. Now, hear me out. This is going to be a rant. Because Grandpa Joe arguably could be one of the biggest villains in film history. Why, you ask? Well, first, let's start off with how we meet Grandpa Joe. The dude's sitting in a bed with 3 other people, laying in a bed with 3 other people who are basically bedridden. He's telling his daughter, who's a widow, who works like a damn dog, that Charlie should get more time to play since he's working too hard as a boy. And she tells him, well, he has to work, basically. We don't have them. And he's like, oh, I would help. Once I get my strength, I'll help. And she goes, Dad, you've been saying that for 20 years. And his response to that, well, if the floor wasn't so cold. What the hell kind of response is that? Secondly, this dude has been making his daughter buy him freaking tobacco for his pipe. They had barely a piece of bread was a feast, but he's still making you buy him tobacco for his pipe that he smokes with 3 other elderly people in the bed. Keep going with that. The bread. When Charlie comes home with the bread, and her mom's like, "Where'd you get that from?" Grandpa Joe don't give a shit. He's like, "Well, who cares? He got it." So he condones stealing, which we find out later because he steals a damn fizzy drinks that gets them almost losing Charlie's damn prize. And then we're going to go to the obvious thing, the elephant in the room. This dude claims to be bedridden, but yet he gets a chocolate that he shares with Charlie while everybody's asleep. For one, how'd he get it? Because I know his daughter didn't get it. It's from the money Charlie gave for his smoking tobacco, which he says, "Oh, I given it up." But he somehow got this damn chocolate bar that doesn't turn out to be the damn golden ticket. So my theory is Grandpa Joe can fucking walk, because once Charlie finds out he has the golden ticket, his ass jumps the fuck up because he got a meal ticket and dances around the whole damn room. He basically slow rolled his family to be a bum for 20 years until he got his meal ticket. Excellent job. And then on top of that, they go to the factory. He tells Charlie in the end, because Willy Wonka is basically telling him, "You don't get anything because you stole fizzy lifting drinks." Well, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to go give this a Slugworth because I'm going to get back at you. He says it in there. And what happens when the Willy Wonka gives Charlie the chocolate factory? Even I can move in? Oh, fuck my daughter. What's going on with them? Yeah, what do I get out of it? Dude's a complete asshole. Complete asshole. Great villain. He was a slow burn the whole time. And then he got what he wanted, and he got warned in. So he's probably one of the greatest villains because he basically was scheming his plan, making him look like a good dude. And then when he finally got his meal ticket, he latched on, and he won in the end. That's why I think Grandpa Joe is a horrible villain.
Wow, you put a lot of thought and a lot of effort into this. Why am I getting Neil Patrick Harris as Barney Stinson vibes when he decides to go off on a rant about how Johnny is the good guy in The Karate Kid and Ralph Macchio is the bad guy?
Well, Johnny is a good guy.
Fuck you. Like, how is Johnny the good guy? You know what? Let's just put this out on the table. How is Johnny the good guy?
Ralph Macchio comes in. He tries to talk to Johnny's girl, which he has no. You don't. There's code, man. You know that shit. No, there's code as a kid. Up. He goes and talks to him. Then he's the first one that initiates contact, not Johnny. He pushes him.
He's not. He doesn't push him. That's bullshit. It's the radio. The radio. He's like, here's your radio back. And then Johnny steals it from him and he grabs it out of his hand violently. You want to bet? Let's watch it right now.
No, I'm not going to bet. Ralph Macchio's an asshole.
No,
fuck that. Bullshit. Johnny's the man. And I don't care what I just laid out a perfect plan. This dude was on his ass for 20 years, apparently, before he sneak out at night. He made his daughter pay for his damn tobacco. What's the defense against that? And then gotta go and take it. Oh, let me get up and let me dance around the whole damn thing.
You know, it's a musical, right, Yumper?
I don't give a shit. Real. I don't give a shit.
The chocolate factory.
He's a perfect villain. I don't care.
You can't return to Oz too, because that doesn't exist either, Yumper.
Has nothing to do with that. This dude in this fantasy land was the best fucking villain ever because he played his whole family for 20 years, not doing a damn thing.
What he did was that it wasn't a long con. He did this because he was the only one that could go to the chocolate factory with him.
That's the bullshit.
Go?
His mom. Yes.
Well, his mom had to go to work. His mom had to go to work. Otherwise, his other three grandparents can't eat cabbage soup.
Well, you know what? Grandpa Joe can fucking sit there for a day and talk to them like he was doing it anyway. His mom, who worked 2 jobs, deserved to go.
It was a long con. Right? Grandpa Joe could get up and he could walk, but he knew if he went to this chocolate factory, he could help. He could help his grandson get the chocolate factory. And he gets the chocolate factory and he looks at him. He's like, "Evil dies tonight, son." And he gets it. He gets it. And they get the chocolate factory and they don't have to live in poverty anymore. While his mom was working and taking care of the other 3 grandparents, he took care of Charlie. He was a chaperone at the chocolate factory. No, sorry. Grandpa Joe.
What are you talking about? He almost cost him the damn thing. Imagine if Grandpa Joe didn't go and the mom went and Charlie didn't drink the fizzy lifting drink.
You know what, Yumper? Sometimes to make an omelet, you got to crack a few eggs, man. And that's what the fizzy drink was. You cracked a few eggs to make the omelet.
No. Grandpa Joe's an asshole and he's a villain, just like Captain America. I ruined him last episode, and I'm ruining Grandpa Joe this episode.
You cannot soil Captain America.
Yes, you can.
Captain America is such an icon that the White Sox put his outfit on Paul Konerko, and now Captain America is everywhere. You cannot soil Captain America's good name.
Who cares?
God,
horrible character.
You're such a Cubs
fan. Yeah, my God, I can't stand Grandpa Joe. Actually, there is some great, like, when I was doing research, because I knew this off the top of my head.
You went into like some deep Reddit thread for this.
There's a website called I Hate Grandpa Joe. There's a Reddit dedicated. There's actually an excellent video about Grandpa Joe being a big villain that's done by on YouTube. You can look it up. It is hilarious because I already thought about the parts of how he got the chocolate. The lady basically says in the video that he was out smoking his pipe and getting it with hookers, which I thought was hilarious. But yeah, there's a lot of Grandpa Joe hate, and I'm not the only one that can see behind its con. Willy Wonka is one of my favorite movies, but Grandpa Joe, I always wonder, like, how the hell you get up after being in bedridden. Even as a little kid, I asked my mom this. You can ask my brother. I've asked, like, how's he dancing around? Was he supposed to be in bed? Wasn't he sick? Like, it makes no sense.
Haven't you ever heard of the magical healing power of belief, Yumper?
Not in this instance.
Oh my God.
But
I'm gonna let you have this one.
You heard this, a victory for me finally.
I'm letting Yumper have this one.
But this was actually a really fun little list we did. Like, I wanted to end it with humor, but like I also want to make a decent argument with this. But yeah, this is a fun little list. Like, movies are my passion, they're your passion. You know, the bad guy, sometimes you root for the bad guy. I wasn't rooting for Grandpa Joe, but sometimes you root for him. Like,
how are you not rooting for Grandpa Joe and that poor family to like figure out how to survive on more than just cabbage soup?
I was rooting for Charlie.
Clothes.
Rooting for Charlie, man.
Well,
Charlie,
and an extension of Charlie is his Grandpa Joe.
The grandpa that won't work because it's too cold on the floor.
Maybe if you didn't wear a nightgown, you wouldn't be so cold, Grandpa Joe.
Yeah, maybe. But on to more serious matters. So, as you know, Swole and I we don't like to put political things in our pod. We don't really talk about it that much on our Twitter and whatnot. But one thing we were in agreement was we were very troubled by the announcement that Roe versus Wade was overturned and the power is giving back to the states to basically take away the right of abortion to a woman. Now, we are both not women. We don't identify with women, but we are strong believers that it's a woman's right, and we are very pro-choice, that a woman has a right to do what she wants with her body, and anybody in general, in my opinion. With that, Swole, tell everybody about what we got planned.
Yeah, thanks, Yumper. I think you kind of you summed it up really, really well. Like, we are both very, very adamantly pro-choice, and that a woman has a right to do whatever she wants with her body. And it's nobody's fucking business what she decides. Sorry, I know I swore a lot on this episode, but that's just how I talk in real life, man. We keep it real here, right? So on August 20th, Yumper and I decided that we are going to have a barbecue at my house. And we are going to hang out with everybody that comes to the barbecue and watch a movie. So for a $25 donation, that pays for your food and your drink. And you can chill here. It's going to be at my house. We've already sold 21 tickets. We have another 20 or so tickets that we would like to sell because we are putting a cap on this. Mainly because I don't want 100 people pissing in my house. But we would love to have you guys come out to our charity barbecue, Yumper and Svo Barbecue and Movie, August 20th at 4 p.m. If you buy the ticket, you'll get the address, all that other fun stuff. And all the proceeds are donated to Planned Parenthood. Every single cent that we make from this is going to that. The food and the drink is our donation to this. And everything that we get from raising tickets is going to go to Planned Parenthood. We're not going to take what we paid for this out of it. That stuff is our donation. We would love to have you there. We have some really cool people coming and supporting already. It's going to be fun. We're going to have plenty of food, plenty of drink. We're going to have some beer pong. We're going to stream a movie. We'll probably have a Sox and a Cubs game streaming on the radio somewhere, because not all of our listeners are White Sox fans. Most of them, I would say, are. But we will have, my stepmom's going to be there. She's the biggest Cubs fan I know. So we'll probably have the Cubs game playing too, and it will be a good time. And if for some reason it rains, we will have a makeup date, and we will get it figured out. You will get your food, you will get your drink. We just want to donate to a good cause.
Yeah, great sum up of it. So, it's doing a good cause, and we also have. You can find a link on our Twitter page at Yumper and Swole on Twitter. It's posted, it's pinned to our Twitter account. If you can't make it and would still like to make a donation, there is an option for that too. As Swole said, 100% of the proceeds of this goes straight to Planned Parenthood. I've already spoken with them, and they're more than happy. They're going to be more happy of us doing this for them. It's just something we're very passionate about, and I know a lot of people are very passionate about. Come out for a good time. We had an enjoyable time at our movie, and this is for even a bigger cause, that's going on. Unfortunately, circumstances had happened, but, we just wanted to make a little impact on what has transpired with the Roe versus Wade overturning. And this is what we thought was impactful, along with everybody we know.
So the podcast is a way for Yumper and I to talk about movies without bothering our wives, because God knows that my wife is amazing. She's the most amazing person I know, but sometimes she doesn't want to hear me babble on about what Matt Reeves could have done differently in the Batman, or if Florida State's leaving the ACC to join the SEC. So Yumper has become my partner when it comes to just bullshitting about movies and sports, along with Fids and Pete, aloha, Mr. Hand, for those not in the know. And this is what this is going to but we wanted to use our platform, our listeners, to try to raise awareness around this and make sure that Planned Parenthood gets a little bit of funding. I know it's like throwing a paper towel in the ocean, but we want to help somehow. And this was a cool way for us to do it.
Yeah, guys. Again, if you want to participate in this, there are limited tickets available. Check out our Twitter page at Yumper and Swole. It's pinned up there as the first tweet. Just click that link to the Eventbrite, and if you want to donate, there's an option for that. And if you want to attend, there's an option for that as well. And as far as donations, that whatever you had by means, you don't have to donate to $25. That is for a ticket. Whatever you can, every donation goes a long way. And we would greatly appreciate it. And like Swole said, we're just using our platform to raise awareness. This is something we're very passionate about. Now that we got our big announcement out of the way for our BBQ, let's go to what's coming soon. Swole, did you want to tell everybody what's coming soon?
Yeah, so we had a conversation yesterday, and our next episode is going to be movies from the year 2000. That was the year that I graduated high school. So there's going to be some cool movies in there. There's also going to be some probably pretty shitty ones in there. So I'm really, really excited about it. I think whenever we do a year of and we can revisit and where we were in our lives when those came out, is always super fun. I'm very excited for this next episode.
Yeah, so am I. I think 2000 was right when I was ending my freshman year in high school. Yeah, 99. So I was my freshman year in high school. A lot of great movies came out that year. Requiem for a Dream, to name one, Snatch, American Psycho. You guys got to tune in to see which ones we talk about. And I noticed that our year reviews are pretty much liked by a lot of people. So it's something we really enjoy doing because we like to look back and talk about it. Also, I want to mention, I know that reviewing things has been kind of a hiatus. We haven't really launched it off yet, but it will be starting up soon. So be sure to check out our Twitter account. And this show for reviewing things is going to be a basic review of Stranger Things. I've never seen Stranger Things till recently. I'm just getting through actually the series. I'll probably finish the series tonight. But I watched it for the first time and basically just discussing, and we're going to be discussing the first and second seasons. And this is all going to be on the Tainted Glove YouTube. So this is not going to be a podcast. It's going to be all video. Something we're trying new that's going to be a live broadcast. It'll probably be on a Saturday, but check out our Twitter page to get that announcement. Usually I'll announce it the day before. But if you like Stranger Things, you want to come and chat with us, or you just want to come and chat about anything related to it, or the similarities with Stephen King books and movies, come through. So that's what we'll be doing next. And with that, before we get to Swole's final thought, I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Mr. Han always says your time is valuable, and we really appreciate you giving us your time. And I just want to reiterate that it's extremely, it's kind of like crazy to think that you guys actually listen to two meatballs talk about movies and BS and shoot the breeze. But I really appreciate it. Our community is great. I really enjoy talking movies with everybody else on Twitter, DMs, text. I met some great people while doing this podcast. I'm Swole is probably one of my best friends. I talk to him all the time. But thank you so much for listening, and it's greatly appreciated. And Swole, you want to give us your final thought?
Look at that beautiful picture. I don't really have a lot for the final thought tonight. I do think that it's important that we continue to use our platform or our voice, whether it's a podcast, whether it's your Twitter account, and we talk about the things that we want to change or we want to fix or things that we believe in, no matter what side of the fence you fall on, whether it's on the left side or the right side. Continue to use your voice and hold the people that make these decisions accountable, right? Hold them accountable. Because nothing's going to change unless we make it happen, right? I'm not going to get into anything specific because this is kind of like a free zone from all that stuff, but use your voice and make the people that need to feel uncomfortable, make them feel uncomfortable. Don't make individuals feel uncomfortable, but make people in power feel uncomfortable and make that happen. And until we see you again, tell the people that you love them and hang out with them and treat everybody with kindness. A little bit of kindness goes a far way. On that note, guys, I'm out and I love you all. Deuces.
Peace, guys.
Thank you for listening to Yumper and Svo at the Show podcast, a Tan and Glove production.
That's it. I'm getting out of here.